Yo, what's up? I'm Q Terry, and today I want to talk about what the future of building apps is because I've heard a lot of things, seen a lot of things, and when it comes to AI, it definitely has changed some things, but it's also made a few things, in my opinion, a bit more accessible. Let's get into it. For those that don't know, every day I ask myself, what's the future? And I take detailed notes and store them in my WTF journal. What you're watching right now is a WTF journal entry, but it's the recorded version. If you want all the links, all the notes, all the things that I find fascinating and insights beyond what I go through, even in this video, I would recommend checking out everydays.wtf. I have the complete journal accessible to all. I've been doing this for over a decade now, and it's one of the things that's helped me become a really strong future thinker. Now, with that being said, I want to jump into something that is all the craze. Everyone knows about ChatGPT. Like, that's not anything new. It's been around for about 8 to 9 months right now. And one of the things that I see about ChatGPT is people are using it to create apps. So you might have heard you can go to ChatGPT, tell it you want an app, and guess what? You've got some code that's workable. Tons of videos on the internet about that. You've also seen now people like entrepreneurs come up with ideas, ChatGPT that joint, and then go raise, some real money from venture capitalists, like just off something that they made in ChatGPT. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what else can people use ChatGPT for? People are using it to build iPhone apps and applications for their websites. And the list goes on. So I was like, well, what's up with this? Let me check it out. Let me figure out what all the craze is. So I did all the YouTube searching for the people that haven't done it. And one of the things that I found super fascinating was not just how to use ChatGPT to get some code and then copy and paste it and see if it runs, but something of the notion where you take ChatGPT and you expand upon its capabilities within something that you already do in your day-to-day life. So most people use the application called Notion. Notion is a note-taking application, and it's much more than that, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to say people use Notion to take notes. They do a lot more, from project management to calendars and all types of things, but Notion, for the most part, is a note-taking application. But what if you didn't want to take your own notes? What if you wanted to just talk and actually get the voice transcription turned into a meeting summary, action items, blog post, whatever? You can do that. And so I saw this video from Thomas J. Frank. Actually, I'm gonna let him explain it.
So this week, I built a bot that takes voice notes, like the one that I'm recording right now, turns them to text, and sends that text to my notes database in Notion. And by text, I don't just mean a transcript. I also get a full summary, a list of the main points in the text, and also a list of action items. Today, I'm gonna show you exactly how to build this workflow for yourself. It is surprisingly easy to set up, and once you do have it built, it is completely hands-off and automated, which makes it awesome.
Yeah, so I love Thomas's workflows, and I also love his site because he has all of the tutorials on a YouTube video, but then he also writes it all out. It's incredible the work. I'll leave a link to that stuff over at everydays.wtf. But one of the things that I find fascinating is not every day I have an hour or two to just dedicate myself to a tutorial. And so what do I do in those days? What do I do in those instances? Well, there's a site known as Replit, and it's one of my favorite IDEs, which is an integrated developer environment. The reason why I like it is because it's in the cloud. Actually, I'm just going to show you what it is right now. We're going to jump into that. So this is Replit. This is their website. What they tell you is you can make something great. You build software collaboratively with the power of AI on any device without spending a second on setup. And I agree with this wholeheartedly. Like, you see companies like Stripe use it, and all types of developers from all over the world, like this kid Omar, who just made this blob generator. And you've got so much to do with Replit. You can code faster with AI because you can actually work kind of like GitHub Copilot. They actually have Ghostwriter, and it will help you clean up your code and do anything. There's no setup, so you don't have to get your environments structured however you would need to, like you would on a local machine. You can create together wherever, so if you need help programming, you can have someone jump in there just like a Google Doc. And if you want to go through tutorials, they've got a large list of tutorials that you can do. Now, this is one of the things that I love about Replit. It's called the Bounty program. And so what you can do is you can put bounties up. I'm going to show you what that looks like on this next slide here. But one of the things that I use all the time is this right here. It's called a bounty. So I can go to Replit log in, and I can create a bounty. Now you might be saying, Q, what's a bounty? A bounty is where you can work with top programmers already on the platform that have been vetted, that have helped others, create whatever you want. And the reason why I think Replit bounties are really good is because it's not too costly to see ideas go from ideation to execution. So this is what I mean. For about 2,700 bucks, you can have a custom ChatGPT chatbot with whatever parameters or whatever questions or queries or whatever training data you want, and it's just 2,700 bucks. Now, if you're new to this and you're like, well, I've got ideas, I want to see these things through, I don't know how to program, you actually now have a place and a concept where you can do that very easily with some of the top people in the industry. So I used it to basically replicate Thomas J. Frank's project. I didn't have time, but I said, hey, it's worth 90 bucks to me, which is 9,000 credits, what they call cycles. So 9,000 cycles translates to about 90 bucks. But I put $90 up, and I basically got 7 applications from qualified developers, and I gave it to one of the developers, and they're working on this project. And what they're going to do is they're going to turn, the tutorial that Thomas J. Frank put up into an application of sorts for myself on my own private environment, and it's going to be custom designed and tweaked to me. And that's what I'm using Replit for. I don't have to trade my time to follow a tutorial. Yes, you can say you didn't really learn anything, but the funny thing is you learn just as much by working with someone and telling them exactly what you want. I mean, I still had to follow roughly the tutorial. I had to understand what components go where, because now you're working with someone and you're paying them, and they need to clarify what they need to build. So they're asking questions, and then through that, you're discovering kind of what your needs are throughout the process. But $90 is worth it versus spending, 2 to 3 hours of my time working on it. And I recommend this to anyone that has like an idea, they see a tutorial, they see a GitHub project, and they're like, man, it would be cool if I could like spend some time working on this for myself, but I just don't have the time. But I could definitely find a use for this if I had it. Replit in their bounty program is damn good. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I love working with the team over there. They're really responsive on email. So the Replit application, that's it. So with that, one of the things that I think is interesting is back in the day, if you didn't have any technical experience, you might have not been able to apply for certain credits or programs. But today that looks a lot differently. I built the voice app on Replit. Let's say I needed some credits and I wanted to apply for this startup program by DeepGram. I totally could. And I would know how to plug in and work with it. And it largely because I was just working with a developer online, and I had to understand kind of like from a project management standpoint what was going on. And you start to become your own architect of sorts. And I would recommend people get started building apps this way, because you still are letting the experts do what they do. They're faster because of AI. You've got more reference points, and all in all, like it's just a better experience. So where's this going? What's the future? I think the future of building apps has gotten a lot easier, largely because you can now program using natural language. Like if you speak in English, great, you can now make an app with that. If you speak Spanish, you can now talk in Spanish and make an app just by talking. Now it's a matter of if you can think it, you can say it, and you can actually have it. This is a really cool space to be in, I think, right now, because there's going to be some crazy apps that come on the scene in the horizon in the next probably 6 to 12 months, largely built off Replit bounties, and they're probably going to generate some crazy amount of money. And the same way we talk about wireframes, and we're like, oh yeah, the first version of Instagram started off and looked like this because of a wireframe. There's going to be people saying the first version of this mega app started as a Replit bounty. And I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. With that being said, every day I ask myself, what's the future? And I take detailed notes and store them in a journal. If you want to find out more about my WTF journal, you can go to everydays.wtf. And until next time, I will catch you in the future.